Hey, and welcome to my channel. My name is Brianne, and today I'm doing a really just simple and quick video with some photography tips. So I want to tell you guys 4 tips that will greatly improve your photography skills and kind of help you get started taking better photos, having more control over how your images turn out. So kind of put the ball in your guys' court with what I talk about next, because I really would love to go over more about editing and just some things that I've learned along the road that have been so helpful with how my images are turning out, and yeah, just some simple tips. So let's get started. Okay, so tip number 1 is to turn your camera in manual mode. And I realize that, you know, turning your camera to manual might seem really overwhelming, and especially if you're not wanting to improve your photography skills for your business, but rather just like taking pictures of your kids or of yourself or family or whatever it is. Okay, so if you're just using your camera for fun, you might think like, well, why would I want to turn it into manual if that involves more steps? But I assure you that having your camera in manual is so important, and it really is not overwhelming. And once you kind of figure out where all of the buttons are on your camera when you're shooting, it just becomes second nature to be adjusting all of your settings. So I promise it's not overwhelming. If you have a DSLR camera, Nikon, Canon, whatever it may be, so turn your camera on, and then on mine, so I have the Canon 5D Mark III, and my knob is on the left side, and I have it on manual mode. So once it's in manual, basically it now gives you control of the ISO, of the aperture. Like, everything is now in your control. So for tonight, I had my husband take a couple of pictures of me in our room in front of this window, and I was really hoping they would turn out, but the way that he was angling himself, and yeah, he's just not used to taking pictures, they did not turn out very well. But say if I had been taking the photo, the room is getting a little bit dark. I have my ring light on right now, but without that, our room is getting pretty dark. So I had the ISO at 640, which is higher than I normally like to go. My camera can handle it and it's perfectly fine, but I prefer to keep my ISO a little bit lower. But anyway, we'll go into detail about settings in another video if you guys are interested. For me, I shoot births and families, and with both of those types of photography, I need to be really fast, because the birth, the baby can be born quickly, like things are moving, and it's just a lot going on, and I have to be really fast. And then with kids, like, you're chasing little ones, trying to get their photos and trying to get that one smile that 2-year-old gave you the entire session, so you have to be quick. And because I am so used to using my camera in manual, it's second nature. It does not slow me down adjusting all my settings. And once, if you're shooting in the same light, you're really not changing things very often. Just one tip. Sorry, that was a really long-winded answer. Anyway, so tip number 1 was having your camera in manual. Tip number 2 is back button focus, so that you can achieve the image that you're wanting and the look that you're wanting. And back button focus, again, is also so second nature. It doesn't slow me down. It doesn't cause any problems. Instead, it really helped improve how my images were turning out, because I had control over what was in focus, and it just really helps with angles too. Say if if you're trying a different angle out, instead of like having to figure out how to move your camera, you just get to control where the focus is, and you can stay in one spot if it's, you know, the type of photo that allows that. Maybe not if you're chasing a 2-year-old. Tip number 3 is Kelvin. So Kelvin is a white balance set. On the back of your camera, the K is for Kelvin, and you get to control the warmth of your image. So say at a birth, because I shoot births, I will move my Kelvin down quite a bit. I've had births where I've shot at 2500, whereas if I'm shooting an outdoor session, it's at 7000. If I'm shooting in someone's home, often it'll be about 5200, but you just play around with it and you figure out where you want it. But the reason why I love shooting in Kelvin is because I think allows you to, for one, control the warmth of your images, or if the room is super warm like a birth where the lighting is kind of orangey, you can bring it down and it will save a lot of time in post when you're editing, so that you're not having to like pull like orange tones out or add warmth in and all of that. I still play around with those settings a lot in Lightroom, and I'm really excited to make that video where I go over more about editing because I find that so fun. So tip number 4 has nothing to do with your camera itself, but it rather has to do with backing things up and making sure that now that you've shot your session, whether it was for a client or for your family or whoever it was for, now that you've done the session, it's important to make sure that you come home and your images are backed up, they're on your computer, and they are safe. So one time in my career as a photographer have I lost images, and it was because I had an external hard drive. Basically it just malfunctioned, and I don't know if I dropped it or what, but I lost quite a few images. Thank goodness I only lost one session. It was embarrassing, it was stressful, and it just is an added stress that you don't really need to have. But anyway, this is just a super fast video with some tips, and I hope you found it useful. I am wanting to just dive more into each of these things that I'm talking about, but I just wanted this to be a quick video to see if anyone is even interested in some of these photography tips. So if you are and you want me to dive more into each topic, please let me know and I will be sure to make some of those videos. I will definitely be making a Lightroom video because I'm really excited to talk more about editing, because that is something that obviously as a photographer I spend so much time doing. So I'm excited to make a video where I talk more about that. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and I hope that you will like this video and subscribe so that you can see future videos. Thanks so much.